Hello everyone, welcome to Achievers IS classes. Let's begin our discussion on the current events of 3rd April 2018. The first issue in news is regarding the nationwide ban called by various SC/ST organizations against the recent judgment of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court recently had ruled that the SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act had become an instrument of blackmail and had issued a slew of guidelines against arbitrary arrests, and further said that anticipatory bail can be given to the accused, which is not permitted under the SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act. Against this judgment, various civil society organizations as well as some members of the ruling party itself have protested, and the nationwide ban called has resulted in many deaths as well. In this regard, the government has filed a review petition in the Supreme Court to re-examine its judgment and has argued that the court has no business to dilute the SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act because we know that it is the exclusive domain of the legislature and not the judiciary. We'll further look into this issue as it evolves in the days to come. Now let's look into the next issue in news, which is regarding the latest guidelines issued by the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting for the accreditation of journalists. These come at a time when there is a growing incidence of fake news, and the ministry in this regard has said that the accreditation given to a journalist, be it for television or for the print media, can be cancelled if the news item reported by them is found to be fake. Regarding the process, the ministry has said that on receiving complaints of fake news, it will be referred to the Press Council of India in case of print media and to the News Broadcasters Association if it relates to electronic media, and both the agencies will have to dispose any complaint within 15 days. During the period of the probe, the journalist's accreditation will be suspended, and if in case of any confirmation of publication or telecast of fake news, it shall be extended for a period of 6 months in case of the first violation, or for a period of 1 year in case of second violation, and subsequently, in the event of a third violation, it would be cancelled permanently. This is a welcome step taken by the government because even last week, a local newspaper had reported fake news which resulted in communal tensions in the locality. Therefore, the strict guidelines issued by the ministry might act as a deterrent for such unethical activities in future. Now let's look into the next issue, which is an editorial regarding the sharing of waters of river Kaveri between Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. As we know, the Supreme Court has delivered its final verdict in the matter, directing the centre to implement the mechanism for the fair and equitable distribution of the river's water. In this regard, the Tamil Nadu government has moved to the court again to initiate contempt proceedings against the central government for not complying with the direction of the Supreme Court within the deadline set by the court order. The centre, in response, has sought 3 more months and some clarifications in the court order to frame a scheme to implement the water sharing arrangement between the states. The centre is to be blamed for the dispute going back to the judiciary because it appears that it does not want to handle the issue until the assembly elections in Karnataka are over, which are to be held shortly. Also, there is a divergence of opinion between the Tamil Nadu and Karnataka government over the proposed mechanism, with Tamil Nadu insisting on sticking to the tribunal's final award to set up a Kaveri Management Board and a Kaveri Water Regulation Committee, while the Karnataka government says that there is no reference to a board in the apex court's order, and the centre could frame a scheme different from what was proposed by the tribunal. Against this backdrop, the centre could have used its discretion and come up with a scheme that would include an interstate body to oversee the water sharing, but the failure to do so has resulted in Tamil Nadu going back to the judiciary for the implementation of its order, and the Chief Justice of India has orally assured the state that it would not be deprived of its share of the Kaveri water because of the delay in implementation of its order. In this regard, it will be wise for all parties to the dispute to resolve the issue on the basis of equity, and the centre should take steps for the proper implementation of the court's order. With that, let's move on to the next issue, which is regarding the discovery of a new plant species from the Western Ghats, which, as we know, is a biodiversity hotspot. The grass-like plant, which has been named after the locality from which it has been found, has been classified as critically endangered by the IUCN because the species is highly prone to wild grazing as well as the habitat where it has been found falls within a tourism spot and the perimeter of a place of worship, thereby subjecting it to anthropogenic pressures that could lead to its extinction in the absence of scientific conservation. The new species belongs to Cyperaceae family, many of which are known for medicinal plants as well as are used as fodder. With that, let's look into the next issue, which is regarding the recent decision of the Chinese government to impose 25% duties on imported items from the US, which consist of mostly agricultural products, including wine, nuts, and pork. This is in response to the US government's decision to impose tariffs on steel and aluminum imports, including those from China. And as we saw in the regular news analysis classes, as well as in the monthly roundup yesterday, the decision of the US government has the potential to trigger a global trade war like the recent Chinese response. Adding to these fears, the US government has announced its intention to unveil a list of advanced technology Chinese imports targeted for US tariffs to punish Beijing over technology transfer policies, which the United States Trade Representative has classified as uneconomic to US interests. These are worrisome developments to globalization and to global trade and will further follow the issue in the coming days. The final issue in news today is regarding the reintroduction of the e-way bill system, which requires transporters to carry an electronic way bill when moving goods between two states. The move is said to check tax evasion and boost revenues of the government. With that, I wrap up today's news analysis. Do share this content if you like it. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.